Account aggregation is an extremely positive step for the health of the financial services uh, for for the both sides, be it the provider of services and be it the consumer of services. But I think at some point we had about 400 bank accounts. We had about $4.5 billion of cash on balance sheet. We applied to RBI for the license on 27 September 2021.
Mhm.
Till date, nobody has broken that record of the fastest to get the license.
How do you plan your finances to leave your job, leave that salary ka nasha, and get into that uncharted territory when you don't know when will the next credit be hitting your account? But ये पता है कि debit तो आने वाला है. Hello and welcome to an exciting new episode of Fintech की बात दिल से. In this episode, we have with us Mr. Venkatesh Krishnamoorti, co-founder and CEO of Safe.in, one of the leading account aggregation companies in India. Mr. Venkatesh, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure having you here.
Likewise, it's my pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, sir. So, you've been running this organization called Safe.in for almost 4 years now and have been one of the pioneers in the account aggregation space. Could you just give us a brief intro, like a couple of minutes, about what the company is all about?
Thank you for this podcast opportunity, Shreyas.
It's a pleasure.
It'll be very, very useful for me to share my thoughts, experiences about financial services in general and account aggregation in particular. Coming to Safe, I would say that we believe, given my vintage in financial services, about 16 plus years when I started my career in Chola, NBFCs, one of the leading NBFCs today in the country. I started way back in '93. Was there till about 2009. I believed very strongly that I still believe rather that account aggregation is an extremely positive step for the health of the financial services for the both sides, be it the provider of services and be it the consumer of services. When I say consumer, it effectively empowers the customer to have complete control of the data, of her data, as to who it should be shared to and for how long. That has been a problem in India for till now, I would say. Whenever financial services is availed, typically citizens provide bank statements, email the scanned bank statements, etc. So
Right.
this account aggregation, the way it has been designed to share the data securely, completely encrypted, only for the eyes of the lender or the financial service provider, I think it's a brilliant opportunity for consumers to really adopt and feel safe about it.
Indeed.
From the provider point of view, the data that comes to them through the account aggregation framework is completely secure, error-free, fraud-free, because it comes from the source of truth, and hence the inefficiencies that were there earlier in for example, OCR on a PDF statement, or even to check the veracity of the statement that has been provided. If there is any fraudulent entries or doctored PDFs, all that goes away because it's all coming digitally from the source of truth. I think it's a win-win for both the provider and the consumer of financial services in India.
Very well put. No, I think that is very aptly said. And earlier, I remember when I used to work in my previous organization, which was into KYC and kind of fetching and scraping all the data that we can to provide to borrowers. And that is essentially when account aggregator was introduced, and the kind of excitement was there in the industry that the data will now come from source of truth, and there is a very secure pipeline that has been built from the source of truth to the financial information users, so that it can be used correctly in a privacy protected way for the users, was really groundbreaking. And I think there have been a lot of advancements, and we'll definitely deep dive into that. But
Sure.
having said that, thank you so much for the quick introduction of the organization and the segment. Let us start with our first segment, which is the founder story, which is essentially all about understanding your entrepreneurship journey. So, while you have given us a brief background, let us deep dive a bit more into how has your career journey been, and what made you jump out from corporate and said कि नहीं यार अभी चलो कुछ तूफानी करते हैं, let's get into entrepreneurship और खुद का कुछ करते हैं.
Sure. So my background is I'm a commerce graduate and a chartered accountant and a cost accountant. Soon after I finished my CA, in '93, I joined Cholamandalam Investment Finance Company Limited, part of the Morgappa Group. I joined them as a management trainee. I remember 9th of September 1993, or was it 8th of September 1993? Joined as a management trainee in their public deposits. It used to be a deposit accepting NBFC at that time. So I was there as a management trainee in that division. I was tasked with documenting the process of public deposit acceptance and warrant issuance, interest warrant issuance, etc., etc. It was a very, very good experience. My first boss was Mr. Bhaskar. Incidentally, who is also on the board now in my company. He's an independent director. He was my mentor right from day one in Chola. So after about I think 6 to 9 months, I moved to corporate finance within Chola, handling their trade finance division, basically bill discounting. So we had a very, very strong corporate finance practice in Chola, particularly for the Coimbatore belt, where the cotton farmers, cotton mills were using our services for bill discounting. So I handled the entire portfolio at that time, basically ops portfolio. And then I moved to investment banking. We were a Cat 1 merchant banker at that time, I think, since it was surrendered later. We were a Cat 1 merchant banker. We almost took the current 5-star business finance, it's called now. It used to be called 5-star business credits. So we were actually almost there to be the lead manager for the issue. We had filed the prospectus with SEBI, got the clearance, and for some reasons that didn't materialize. And we were, of course, managers for few, in some capacity for few of the publications at the time as Cat 1 merchant banker. And then I moved to our stock brokerage subsidiary called Cholamandalam Securities Limited.
I see.
It was a NSE member by that time, and I joined them in '97, I would say. First as a equity research analyst, actually, and then I moved to take care of the accounts and operations for that entity. After I moved there, we also applied to BSE for membership, Bombay Stock Exchange. I was a designated director for the company to represent the company for the membership with BSE. Also set up the depository division for Chola. That was when NSDL was just coming up, and I anchored the whole process from my end to become a depository participant for Chola. And then I moved back to Chola, the parent, as a treasurer. That was an interesting move. Mr. Bhaskar called me back, my original mentor. He said, "Why don't you come back and work for me?" And in 2002, I became the treasurer for Chola. It was a relatively smaller company compared to where it is today. I was there till about 2006, if I remember correctly. 2006, yeah. That was the time Chola had a lot of growth, as any finance company at that time. But we were also partnering with DBS, the Singapore bank. They took a stake in Cholamandalam. It became known as Cholamandalam DBS Finance Limited. And that's when we ventured big time into personal finance, basically unsecured lending, both high ticket and small ticket. And then, as everybody knows, GFC happened, and it was really a challenging time, I would say. But by the time I had moved out of treasury, I had moved to set up a retail capital market finance division for Chola. Cholamandalam was always strong in promoter lending against shares. We had some of the very big names in India borrowing from us. but we wanted to get into retail capital market finance. We saw a big opportunity there.
Hmm.
Given our presence in both depository and stock market as a broker, we
Hmm.
thought it aligned very well with these businesses. So we set that up. I wrote the credit policy for the business, and we had a good book. And then market collapsed, and there was a decision by the board to pull back from capital market lending, particularly at that
Hmm.
time. Then I was also requested by the promoters of Murugappa Group to uh, oversee the mutual fund business in Bombay briefly,
Hmm.
because they were between CEOs at that time.
Right.
So I moved to Bombay in April 2008. I was doing uh, basically the overseeing. I did make a few, marketing calls with say ITC or L&T, Hindustan Zinc. Um, it was a very good experience, I would say. It was really. I was always on the other side as a treasurer, raising money from mutual funds.
Hmm.
For a change, I was in the investing side, and basically I was there till about I would say January 2009.
I see.
Uh, Sanjay Sinha joined us in September 2008 as a CEO,
Hmm.
and he requested me to be around till Jan so that he can settle in,
Right.
which I did. And January I moved back to Chennai, and by February I think I decided that I have to move to another organization. Uh,
Hmm.
so I moved out in March end, and April first week I joined Cognizant.
Okay.
Um, I was, I think, the second employee of Cognizant in the treasury space. There was a treasurer, and there was nothing below him.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, Cognizant again was relatively smaller at that time in 2009,
True.
about 16 years ago. We had about only 50,000 employees in India at that time, and uh, it just was a great, I would say, in hindsight, a great move for me personally and
Hmm.
professionally. Between me and my boss, the treasurer, David Nelson, we built the treasury team ground up, uh, uh, all headquartered in Chennai, overseeing the entire global treasury operations of Cognizant, which is a Fortune 200 company now.
Hmm.
So we handled FX, which is, as you can imagine, a very sizable exposure given an IT services company having presence in about 40, 45 countries, exposed to
Hmm.
different currencies. And we had about, I think at some point, we had about 400 bank accounts. We had about $4.5 billion of cash on balance sheet. So basically, FX, investments, cash management, risk management, all of these were reporting under me. Um, it was a great experience. I think the scale that I got to manage there and the complexities and the learnings that I took was simply amazing. And I also handled the Trizeto acquisition of Cognizant from a funding perspective, uh, for which I was there in the US for about 3 months. It was a very good experience.
Absolutely, this sounds like a really enriching experience. So, from given this extended corporate stint that you had, how did you kind of get the idea of starting something of your own, and what inspired that? What inspired that move?
I I would say it's a tribute to some of my ex colleagues from Chola,
Mm-hmm.
uh, who at various points in time went on to start businesses on their own. First was Equitas. Vasu is
Mm-hmm.
an ex-colleague of mine. He used to handle the vehicle finance business in Chola.
I see.
He moved out, I think, in 2008 or thereabouts, and he started Equitas.
Mm-hmm.
First, it was a microfinance company, and microfinance was the flavor at that time.
True.
And then he transformed into a small finance bank.
Mm-hmm.
A few other examples are like Aptus, my ex super boss, Mr. Anandan. He set up Aptus Value Housing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Another close friend and ex colleague of mine is Bhaskar Babu, who's the founder, promoter, and the MD now of Suryoday Small Finance Bank. And there were quite a few other, successful ventures. Arul Mani, for example, is another very close friend of mine, ex-colleague.
Mm-hmm.
He initially set up the Aptus
Right.
business for Mr. Anandan, and then he went on to set up his own company called Veritas Finance, which
Mm-hmm.
is now recently become a unicorn. They are into SME lending. I've been closely following these, journeys of my close friends and ex-colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
and always had that thought in my mind, but never had the courage to, jump in. Obviously, as a middle class person, you have
Mm-hmm.
EMIs to pay, and if you start something on your own, your salary is not, you know, as assured as, yeah, as a salaried employee.
Of
So
course.
I was always had that fear in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2021, so I moved to London in 2018 as part of Cognizant.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for about 4.5 years. In July 2021, I decided that I will move back to India, which is what I did. In October 21, I came back, and uh, we wanted to do something. By July, August, we kind of decided. So me and my two colleagues, Vijayan and Krishnan, who used to work with me in Cognizant, when
Mm-hmm.
I told them that I'm quitting, they said, we will also join you, whatever you're doing. And I think that was a very, very super leap of faith that they took, trusting me. So we did some research on what we should start. I think the logical next step for me would have been starting a funding NBFC or lending NBFC. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
all the examples that I took earlier. But I was not again too sure about getting into lending. I was looking at more like a non-fund based NBFC, and open banking was something we had some experience in Cognizant, given, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, our 400 bank accounts and need to have a real-time view for our CFO or our treasurer.
Right.
So we did some research on what's happening in open banking in India, and at that time, account aggregation popped up as the concept that's being introduced here. Interestingly speaking, 2016 is when RBI approved the concept in
Mm.
the code. I think a lot of work happened between 2016 and 2021 by the banks, by some of the early account aggregators who were the license, and some technology companies. A lot of work had gone through.
True.
And 2nd September 21 is when it was launched in India, account
Mm-hmm.
aggregation, by the DG, Rajeshwar Rao. Um, so I felt that while it is 5-year-old concept in India, but it's still not gone live. So I think we can, get into it. And we were very, very, excited about this, primarily because, like I said, from my experience in financial services, it was a no-brainer for me that account aggregation is going to be a path-breaking initiative for everyone concerned
Makes sense.
in this segment. So we applied to RBI for the license on 27 September 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Till date, nobody has broken that record of the fastest to get the license. We got the in principle in June 22. Basically, RBI checks for fit and proper criteria, etc., etc. So we cleared all that. June 22, we got the in principle, and immediately we went back to RBI and said we are ready for the operating license too. Which took them by surprise because typically RBI expects the in principle license holder to take a year to
Mm.
get back to them. I said we are ready with technology. So we went back to them, and December 22 we got the license. So effectively we got the license end to end within about a year and a quarter or so. Um,
Understood.
in the interim, we did a lot of groundwork. So I'd say it's been a fabulous journey. Always, the fear of jumping is always there, but once you do that, I think it's exciting, I would say.
Indeed. No, thank you so much for that. Given that you've been in entrepreneurship for almost 4 years now, one of the questions that I get a lot from the budding entrepreneurs is how do you plan your finances to leave your job, leave that salary ka nasha, and get into that uncharted territory when you don't know when will the next credit be hitting your account. But ये पता है कि debit तो आने वाला है.
Perfectly valid, which is exactly why I had to kick this down the road for a long time. Right from 2009 onwards, I've been
Mm,
approached by some of my ex-colleagues, like I said, to join them. Of course, startup is a very different ballgame compared to a salary job.
true.
Uh, there could be times when of course, at the beginning, your salary won't be market-driven salary. It will be much lesser because
Mm,
you grow with the company, and definitely the rewards are fabulous after some time. But I had um the good fortune of having settled my loans and had a small pot of money saved,
mm,
which I said, and of course, without the support of family, one can never jump in.
of course.
So I had a discussion with my family and close friends who've been in this business, who've gone through all the good and bad of startup journeys, uh, and I was convinced that it is so matter of time before it clicks, and we will start making good yielding good results.
Mm,
Apart from investing my own money, I had the support of some of my close friends, very close friends actually, and some ex-colleagues too, who said we will, invest in your venture because we trust in you. We trust your competence and integrity. So we would love to invest in whatever you're getting into, and that was, I think, a big boost for my morale to think big, I would say.
makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing that. Having said that, a lot of entrepreneurs essentially who are watching this, uh, would be keen to understand three or maybe, 3 or 4 lessons from you on what not to do when starting up.
Um, I think the first thing I would say is, um, if you're confident, get in. There will be hurdles. There will be times when you will have sleepless nights. You should not give up. You should believe in yourself. Believe in the team that you're working with, and I think that's the hardest part, I would say. A lot of people might throw in their hat and say it's not for me. Like they say in business in general, don't put good money after bad money. If you think you cut your loss and get out, if you think it's getting very difficult, but startup is not. I mean, you will only hear a lot of success stories. You know, like Grow IPO is going on right now. There's so many success stories that happen, and people immediately think that, oh wow, it's so easy to become a
Hmm.
unicorn or even a unicorn or those kind of things.
Right.
That is just a very um, a long journey. Uh, you need to put in the hard yards. I think the putting your head down and working hard is very important. Results will come as long as you put in the effort in all sincerity. I think results will come,
Hmm.
but never give up once you have the belief and you got into that startup, right? It's very important. But the other important thing I would say is, make sure that you have covered all bases about the idea that you have in mind,
Hmm.
because one shouldn't be surprised after you start up that, oh, I didn't think about it, and oh, this is going to be a problem for me types. In our case, for example, I would say that I was so convinced about the
Hmm.
success of account aggregation because it's a regulated entity,
Right.
it's a licensed entity. There is zero regulatory risk once you get in. Unlike there have been so many, I don't want to name, but there have been so many cases where uh, any unregulated activity is always at risk of being shut down.
Hmm. Of course.
Even let's say what account aggregator has done is effectively nail the coffin for companies that read your, ask your permission to read your SMS, your emails,
Hmm.
PDFs, reading or web scraping. All that may have been very useful at some point in time, but in today's day and age, when data privacy is paramount, it is, which is why I'm saying that I strongly believe that it's going to be a very, very critical cog in the financial services wheel.
Indeed. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think with that, we conclude our first segment, Founder Story. It has been a really inspiring journey, and thank you so much for sharing it with us.